All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. And Sharon is here with me, and we'll be using the chat feature. And I'm going to start by just going through a brief PowerPoint that I developed just in response to several questions that we were getting in the Q&A, which has been great. So please keep adding your questions. I will email you back, and we will post as many answers as we can. But I took a lot of the questions and I put them in a PowerPoint just so we could go over some basics. And then at the end, we will have some time for questions and answers here with you, with this group. And this will be recorded, so it will be posted for others who are not joining us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and have Sharon start our PowerPoint. And just so you know that things are still changing and updating every day. So some things that I said last night are a little different than what I'm going to say today, because every day, again, is an update, is a change. So this is what we have so far for our reopening plan to Gardner-Dickinson. So right now, looking at schedules, we are looking at opening the elementary from 8 to 2:30 as we have traditionally, and middle school from 8 a.m. to 3:17. And that is subject still up for possible last minute change. So I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. So all classroom teachers will be ready to accept students at 8 a.m. We have been waiting to really the last minute to look at transportation, which drives a lot of this schedule, is how many students we can safely get here on the bus with your transportation as well. What time do we start school? And this has all been based on the parent survey information. Kathy Fazioli has been calling many of you to just, we were updating any changes that parents may have or anybody that we still haven't heard from. So thank you, and for being patient. She's making lots of phone calls just to solidify the transportation request. So right now, well actually last week, we were anticipating that it would take the building an hour and a half if we needed to have 2 bus runs to get kids here on an 8 o'clock bus run, then going back out to get middle school, which would take until about 9:15, delaying the start of school for first period at the middle school until 9:30, and again, delaying elementary start until about 9 o'clock. We were figuring new instruction would start based on how long it took to get the buses here and to get parents to drop off. Flip that slide. Oops, no, wrong way. Okay, so again, just a big thank you to Jim Worthington, Mike Goyer for their countless hours of running all scenarios. So originally, we were setting up transportation. If we had a 67 passenger bus, siblings could sit together, but if one student was in a seat, it'd be 20 to 22 students riding the bus. So we were basing this on that we would need 2 bus runs with 375 kids. The first drop off at 8 and then again at 9:15. If 50% of parents were to drive in, it would be possible to get all students here at 8 o'clock. Okay, and then we figured on the parents dropping off in every 10-minute sections. That would be another, 45 minutes for drop off. So that was our original thinking, that we would need 2 bus runs. Oh, at the bottom I have masks are required to ride on at all times on the school bus throughout the bus ride for transportation. So one more slide. So here is our survey results. So we had asked how many families could drive your students, your children into school, AM, PM, or PM only, AM only. So right now we have hit that threshold for 50% of families can drive their children in, which is amazing. It makes transportation numbers drastically reduced, half reduced capacity, which means 1 to a seat, or if we can get siblings on the same seat, that would be great. Next slide, Sharon. Okay, so for drop off, this is where the tricky piece comes, that, right now if we said, okay, 190 kids are gonna come off the bus in the morning, And then the other 190 are getting driven by their families. Again, right now, we're just trying to make phone calls to, make sure that parents are still going to commit to dropping off. How many families will that be? How many cars will that be? Obviously, that will be an issue. So right now, with that 50% driving in, we are pretty confident in saying that we can get all students K-8 on one run in the morning at 8 o'clock. And then having to accommodate for the families driving in. So if that is 100 cars driving up here, dropping off, we'd have to give at least a window of 45 minutes using the bus loop after the buses leave and the typical drop off. So asking 2 flows of traffic coming up using 2 circles. We will be going out, doing temperature checks at the car before the students get out. If they have no fever, they get right out. If they had a fever, you would unfortunately have to take them back home with you. But we would be able to do a temperature check before students arrive in the building. So one thing that we are trying to accommodate, again, we are very appreciative of families driving up, that we want to make sure that you come for one drop off no matter what. We'll do our best to accommodate families. I know in one mailing I put out there, or one letter on the website, I said, pre-K could get dropped off at 8:45 just because they may need a little extra time. They might be certainly crying or upset to get out of the car for the first week or so. So to be understanding, we thought maybe pre-K would have an 8:45 drop off. But at the same time, there's families calling saying, well, wait a minute, I have a 3rd grader and I would want the 3rd grader to walk the preschooler in. So we looked at that, and about half of our pre-K families do have siblings. So again, I wouldn't want to make you come back at 8 o'clock or 8:45. So this is going to be a work in progress. We are going to reach out. Kathy Fazioli, again, is going to kill me, but I'm going to ask her to call every family and try to make our best accommodations to help, whether you want your child to have an 8 o'clock spot, an 8:15, an 8:20, an 8:30, 8:45, whatever we can do. Again, we are very appreciative for the transportation. We want to make sure it's safe. We want to make sure that you're not hanging out certainly down the road on East Ave. We know that this will be tricky. So we're spending a lot of time just looking at logistics and how we can get you up here to drop off your family together and not have several runs up here to GD. So we do believe right now, with what the survey information tells us, that all students can ride the bus at 8 o'clock and then get dropped off anywhere between 8 and 8:45. That makes it safe once we get the total number of cars coming. Okay. Parent pickup. So again, parent pickup will be tricky. We know that we have less, we still have a lot of parents that will be coming to pick up pre-K through 5. There are not enough transportation supports in the afternoon to do one bus run home. So at one point we were thinking, could we empty out the entire building at 2:30? That instead of middle schoolers staying till 3:17, they could leave at 2:30. The numbers just aren't the same as there in the morning. Again, understanding that parents are going to work and it would be very hard to get back by 2:30. So the bus runs, we just feel are at an unsafe level of having one run out at 2:30. Again, that would take off band and chorus from last period from the middle school, which we are not planning to run at this time due to the constraints of having to be 12 feet apart in band and chorus. So we will not be running those. We will not have those electives at the middle school. So we were thinking that we possibly could get all students home at 2:30. The bus constraints make it difficult. We would have to run 2 runs. So looking at pre-K through 5, there would be a dismissal at 2:30 for buses. Again, we would have parents, a large number of parents will be coming up. So we would allocate, 1:45 to 2:30, again, calling parents to come up. And then this is how this would run. We would just do the reverse of the morning. So instead of buses lining up here in the big bus circle, they would line up where the parking lot, where the student drop-off is. The buses would come up. We would call students by bus numbers to get on, and then the buses would start leaving. We'd fill a bus as soon as they came in between, I would say, 2:15 and 2:30. That would be running, but we would keep this main circle by the main office and the gym doors open. That circle would be open for parents to pull up, not get out of their cars, and we would walk the children out to the car to be picked up. Again, we're looking for, the safety of all. We don't want the parents getting out of the car, having to come in the building and worrying about what student was walking out to what parent. So we see a system of, a big name tag of your family in the car hanging from your rear view mirror, and we look and see who's coming, and we have those children ready. And again, that could start from 1:45 to 2:30, just so that there's a constant flow of traffic, students being walked out safely to the car. So that is what we are trying to work out now. Yesterday, we thought perhaps if sixth graders fit on that bus run, we could work on the 2:30 buses. We don't think that is still a safe number to run the buses. I have this in bold at the bottom, today's scenario, because every day there's something different happening. Today's scenario is Mike Goyer in transportation had asked me, hey, what if I can get the buses 6 through 8 home at 1:45? If they left at 1:45, now that we know we're gonna get here at 8 o'clock and that parents will drop off by 8:45, could we start first period at 8:45 instead of 9:30? That would give us a whole nother period at the beginning of the day. So could we end middle school earlier, get those students on a bus ride home first, come back, pick up the elementary, and again, then still have it open for 1:45 pickup for parents. If you're picking up a sixth grader and a third grader, we are really trying to just make this easier on families to come pick up. And also this might help with middle school going home first and being able to get the buses for the elementary that would be coming later. This is a big if. We're working on transportation numbers to see if this could happen, looking at the bus runs, and also looking at if we can condense the middle school schedule so that we started right away at 8:45. Could we do this? Mrs. Murphy is busy, Therese Butcher, we were working on the schedules today. They're still not finalized. So this is just a thought that could happen. Again, if we could get the entire school out in one dismissal, we're hearing from parents that would be ideal, and we want to help that out. So we're working every scenario possible. So from when I started yesterday saying yes, dismissal is definitely 3:17 for 6 through 8, today it could be 1:45. And again, if this helps make everything smoother and easier for families to pick up, we certainly will try to accommodate that. So I will let you know about that. Personal protective equipment. So we have hand sanitizer available in all the hallways, in the classroom, common areas. Students will have individual bottles at their desk. I put this, a big thank you to the Rensselaer County Health Department for helping us to secure our PPE. We bought months and months worth of PPE, and I know that many districts are struggling with this. Some are worrying about delaying the opening of school because they don't have the PPE. It has been on back order. Rensselaer County really stepped up, helped us with their distributors, and helped even upfront the cost of all of this, which was an enormous task, and we really appreciate it. We have masks, shields, disinfectant spray, wipes. We pretty much probably have a whole year's worth, and so we are thrilled and feel much safer that we have all that equipment ready to go. Face mask, this is a big question. I know that we've put this out, but I think this is a question that always comes up. So we are making a face mask protocol that's being developed and will be put online. Thank you for Patrick Parator, who is our health and safety consultant from Questar, helping us really put pen to paper with all of these procedures, protocols, just so that, you know, all teachers, all administration, all staff, that we are all consistent and that families know exactly what is happening at all times. So all students and employees will wear a cloth face mask or a face covering while working in or around the district at all times. There will be designated mask breaks during the school day where students are 6 feet apart, sitting down at their desk. There will be the mask breaks in addition to lunch, and we are saying that it would be at least every hour for 10 minutes in length. We also are developing a social distance protocol that will be developed and posted this week, where all students are spaced at a minimum of 6 feet apart in the classrooms, 12 feet during physical ed and when singing and music. Now the music teacher does plan to work in the classroom. So again, they'll be doing a lot of music technology, a lot of different music theory, because music will be in the classroom. If it is nice out, they will go outside, stand 12 feet apart, and they can sing their hearts until their hearts are content. So we do plan to do that in the nice weather. Hallways will be marked with directional arrows and other markings to indicate one-way traffic flows and student positioning. Students will be asked to walk 6 feet apart, including when they're, you know, about to enter the classroom, in the bathroom. I've had several consultants come up, and we just put a large order of signage for the floors, for the arrows. We did every inch of the school. We did the gymnasium so that there will be spots 12 feet apart where students can just go into the gym when it's not nice out, because we plan to be outside as much as possible, but they'll be able to find a floor spot. We have these signage stickers, if you call them. We have them for the outside as students get off the bus. You know, we're very concerned that, you know, what is 6 feet apart? You know, for a kindergarten, a first grader, I think sometimes it's hard for adults to figure out, am I standing 6 feet apart? So there will be floor signage on the walls, markings everywhere. The building will be covered. And we're trying to make it a little more appealing, so there'll be GD, Royals, crowns on all the symbols, so hopefully the kids will get a kick out of that as well. Bathroom use will be monitored by aides so that no more than 2 students are in the bathroom at any given time. Yesterday there was a big planning meeting just around this, that teachers and I and staff, I mean, they have been great coming in and just planning for all these details. So we have a bathroom plan. We are scheduling times for bathroom, and we know that there's lots of other times that students will need to go to the bathroom outside of the bathroom breaks. So there is a system of an aide in the hallway, an aide, you know, in charge of 2 different rooms. If someone needs to go to the bathroom outside of scheduled time, they will have to, you know, radio that someone is monitoring. We are not letting anybody use the bathroom at any time without a adult to monitor. Lunch recess specials. So breakfast and lunch will be delivered to the classroom. All students will eat at their desk. Recess will be outside every day when possible. The classroom teachers will be taking the students outside in addition to their lunch block. We know that we had to extend lunch and recess from a 45-minute period probably to a period that's going to take us an hour and a half. We'll have to wash our hands before eating, after eating, going outside, washing as they're coming in. Again, only 2 students allowed in the bathroom at once. We know that we're planning these transition time, these times to be much longer and to have that supervision. So classroom teachers will be taking their students out. Students will stay in their small pods, even when outside with the teachers doing different activities, using different parts of the field, the playground, other areas. As I think I said, art, library, and music will be pushed in the classroom. Again, if singing is going to occur, that must be outside. PE will be outside to the greatest extent possible, or 12 feet apart in the gym. 12-foot distancing will be enforced for aerobic activities, choir, band. So right now we are going to say we are not going to offer chorus and band. We are, however, looking at 1 to 1 or 1 to 2 lessons where they can be 12 feet apart for band. Again, not the band together, but taking an instrument. We don't want to see our children lose their skills that they have worked so hard for. So we are going to have time in our new music teacher, Kristen Gordon's schedule, so she can do some one-on-one lessons. But at this point, we are going to hold off on any band, any group. Sanitation. Desks and seats will be sanitized between uses. Shared equipment will be sanitized between uses. Hand sanitizer is going to be available in every classroom and common areas. Students' hands will be sanitized upon entering the building. High-touch areas and buses will be sanitized between runs. And the district, again, is only using products that are safe to be used in school. I just want to say a huge thank you to our custodial staff, Andy, Jeff, Cole, John, Isabel, for the amazing job they're doing in this building, getting this ready, the building ready for us to return safely. I can't tell you how many times I've had them move furniture in, out of a room, in the room, back. They're doing an amazing job. Every desk is perfectly, 6 feet apart. The building is just, has been sanitized, clean. It is just looking beautiful. So they've done so much work, such a heavy lift to get so much furniture out and to really open up the spaces, which is remarkable. So thank you. Isabel is our new additional hire for cleaning and disinfecting purposes. So, again, now there's 5 staff really looking at how are they going to get through the day, those high touch areas, doorknobs, faucets, handles, railings, crash bars, sanitizing every hour, being in charge of, a different wing, a classroom area, a bathroom. So they are really working out the fine details of how they're going to sanitize all day long, and then certainly working after the students leave, as well as the buses. All rooms will be sanitized with the new fogger machine, which cleans, sanitizes, and disinfects with the mist. So every room will be done, as well as every single school bus. All students and staff. So the monitoring, this is a question that comes up quite a bit. You'll see that we have our testing and our testing procedures and screening online that has been posted last Friday. Some of this I just cut and paste from our plan, but I thought I'd go over it because this is certainly a question that comes up often. So all students and staff will have their temperatures checked upon entering the building. So again, as soon as they get off the bus or before they even get out of a car, and staff will take their temperature before walking in the building. All staff will complete the COVID-19 questionnaire before reporting to work every day. Visitors are not going to be allowed in the building unless absolutely necessary. Visitors will complete the questionnaire and have the temperature check as well. Staff displaying any symptoms consistent with COVID-19 will leave school immediately. Students displaying any symptoms consistent with COVID-19 will be isolated until parents can pick them up. Individuals will be referred to their primary care provider for an evaluation. If the primary care provider determines that symptoms are not COVID-related, a note from the primary care provider stating such a diagnosis must be provided in order to return to school or work. If the primary care provider determines that symptoms are COVID-related, testing must occur. If an individual is confirmed as positive for COVID-19, isolation protocols will be required for 10 days per CDC guidelines. An individual must be in isolation for 10 days and symptom-free for 72 hours before release from isolation may be considered. Release from isolation will be determined solely by the Rensselaer County Department of Health. A release letter provided by the Rensselaer County Department of Health will be required for the return to school. The parents of any student who has tested positive must notify the school district as soon as possible. If this were to occur, the district will contact the county, our Rensselaer County, for confirmation and collaboration in beginning the contact tracing activities. The district COVID-19 resource person, Tricia Gibbs, our nurse, will coordinate with the Rensselaer County Department of Health for contact tracing purposes. So we will assist the DOH in contact tracing. Okay. In the event an individual is identified as a confirmed case within the school, the Rensselaer County Department of Health will determine a starting date for which the school will need to provide contact tracing information. This date will be 48 hours prior to the individual becoming symptomatic. To this end, the school district will need to keep records that will be made available to the Rensselaer County Department of Health who may have been in close contact with a confirmed case. Any close contacts will be identified by the Rensselaer County Health Department. Tricia Gibbs, our COVID-19 school resource person office, will then assist the county with the quarantine surveillance monitoring of contacts and connection. Oh, I'm sorry, can you move that? I'm sorry, we lost.
It'll fade.
Okay. In connection with the confirmed case in the school. Okay. If a student or staff member is identified by the Rensselaer County Department as a contact, they will be contacted by the county case manager and will be instructed to quarantine for 14 days. Any contact identified by the Rensselaer County Health Department may not return to school until such time as they are released from mandatory quarantine by the case manager. So school closure decisions will occur in consultation with the Rensselaer County Department of Health. This may involve a closure of a classroom, of the entire facility, depending on the quantity of suspected and confirmed cases. There may be no need to close the school building if the Department of Health determines that the close contacts are excluded from school and the facility may continue normal operations. Full closure of a school facility may be necessary in some situations and will be implemented on a case-to-case basis. So all of these procedures we have worked out with the county, and again, we take their lead. They are still in charge of, you know, all of these pieces of school closure. Okay. I'm sorry, how does that go? Okay, the classrooms, why is this slide not, I'm sorry, Sharon, I can't see this whole slide.
It's your bar on the bottom.
Okay, go back, okay. Okay, classrooms. Right now, we are running pre-K. We are running one section of pre-K with 15 students. We will have a pre-K orientation. We are working with Head Start CEO who runs that program. She is coming up with some dates. It'll definitely happen at some point next week with the classroom teacher and the directors from Head Start. So more information on pre-K coming very soon. Drop off, again, it will run, you know, 8 to 9 o'clock, the drop off, the program 9 to 2. Again, starting pickup for some parents of pre-K who do not have siblings and who want to beat the traffic. Maybe it's 1:30, you know, to come to get out of the way before the larger dismissal. Or again, if you have a sibling and you're coming up at 2:30, you can pick up at 2:30. The pre-K teachers will be in the room from 8 till 3 o'clock, so we can certainly be flexible with the times of drop off and pick up for pre-K. Again, that still will, the hours still hold true for K through 5. Right now, K 1, 3, 5, and 7 will have 2 sections each. Grades 2, 4, and 6 have been opened up to 3 sections, just limiting class size. And we used 3 remedial teachers to be 3rd classroom teachers in those grade levels. So in 2nd grade, Katie Sheehan is a remedial reading specialist. She will be a 3rd 2nd grade teacher. We will be working, the 3 teachers in all 3 grade levels, 2, 4, and 6, have decided to, one teacher will teach ELA, which will be Katie Sheehan. One teacher will teach math, and one teacher will teach science social studies every other day. So your children will have, if you have children in 2, 4, or 6, you will have all 3 teachers rotating through. The teachers will move. The students will stay in the same pod as in the same classroom that they started in the morning. In grades K1, 3, 5, and K1, 3, and 5, there are 2 sections each, and those teachers will change at some point. We always departmentalized for science and social studies. Some teachers may do it for math and ELA, so more to come on that shortly. In grade 7, the students will enter a classroom and stay in the same room, and then their 5 core teachers will change throughout the day. 8th grade, I had listed here as 3 sections. That asterisk there, again, is changing as of today. We may offer 2 sections of 8th grade. 8th grade is rather small. We might do 2 sections and offer, some enrichment to many more students. Again, trying to condense some courses to have that possibility of getting out at 1:45 or between 1:45 and 2 o'clock. So it would all depend on if we could condense and if we could move our last period class to our first period at 8:45. So again, that's still being planned on today, more by the end of the week. The numbers in any classroom are between 15 and 19 is our biggest class right now. There are, just a few students at each grade level or 1 or 2 that may be choosing to stay remote. So definitely our numbers are under 20 for our class. The Aspire classroom is still opening in September, which is great news. We have a 611 self-contained classroom. Again, a big thank you to the teachers, the therapists, the specialists, our behavior consultant. They have put hours and hours in over the summer, starting a brand new classroom and all that's going on and just making these students such a priority. So I'm extremely proud and excited about the new classroom opportunities and the new students that will be joining us here at GD. Remote instruction. So this is another big area, another question. It's a lot of details that we're putting into place. I have a remote instruction plan that went up last Thursday or Friday. I think it was Friday, as per the governor's request. And today I had, I think it was probably 20 teachers in the building and several online, really putting some more detail to our remote learning plan. So again, it's on the website now, but literally by Friday, it will have many, many more details in it. I'm very proud of the work that we did today. We spent just about the whole day really looking at all the details of a plan and the supports for students who are not able to return in the fall or students who are absent. So as I said, in the event that a child gets sick and has to go home or is awaiting testing, we want to make sure that we have a solid plan to support them while they're home short term, or if it's long term, or in the event that we're all out on a school closure again. So I think it is just as important that we're teaching here 5 days, but using these platforms just to be ready at any point. As of today, again, about 88% of our students will be returning to GD in September, which is wonderful. Some of the digital platforms will be, all students will be issued their own Chromebook. We are now one-to-one computer district. So even in pre-K, kindergarten, everyone will have their own Chromebook or iPad for the younger guys, and it'll be used in the classroom and used anytime to support remote instruction. All teachers will use Google Classroom to post activities and assignments. And again, whether we are here 5 days a week, we are still going to be utilizing Google Classroom so that parents are comfortable and familiar. There'll be trainings for families coming in the next couple of weeks. There are trainings for staff. We are just going to continue to work to get as many activities and engaging assignments and activities for our students on Google Classroom. Google Meetings will be used for direct instruction in all content areas and used to assist, again, students who are absent or have chose to stay remote. They will be able to have a Google meeting and be able to see their live direct instruction from their teacher at all content areas. So again, the work we did today was really looking at taking, if we were to be out at any point, how would remote instruction now look pretty much exactly like it does in school. They would follow the same schedule. If math takes, happens every day from 9 to 10, well, if students are home, math is going to continue from 9 to 10, and their teacher will be just teaching remotely using those tools. So final details are coming. I know this, you've been waiting and waiting, and I get lots of questions, class lists and schedules and lots of things. It's just been a lot to process quickly. We didn't even know. It's been just 2 weeks that we found out, yes, the governor says we are coming back to school, and now so many pieces need to be put in place. I want to give a shout out to the teachers, the staff. So many people have been in this week. Just to give you, for instance, yesterday we covered finalizing master schedules, special areas, the Google, push-in, support teachers, arrival, the health screening, who's screening, how are we taking temperatures, dismissal, pickup, all these ideas, lunch, recess, bathroom breaks. We worked for hours yesterday. Today, the majority of the day was just on remote instruction. What does that look like? What platforms are we using? What PD do teachers need? What PD do families need? How do we get that training out to families? We also talked about class lists. I know that this was, the teachers are anxious to see who's on their list, and I know parents are as well. We really had to wait to look to see, how many students are returning, how big are the class, do we break up the class into 3 sections or 2? So now we've solidified that, and now we're looking again at class lists. So if we have the opportunity to take a class list that was developed in May of 2 rooms, now we're going to make into 3. How can we be creative to match our readers together? It will be difficult to do small group instruction. It's not like we're pulling groups of students. They're going to be in their classroom. So how can we naturally differentiate for the different classrooms? So we spent a lot of time just looking at kids, looking at levels, looking at reading levels, looking at math skills, and just how are we grouping students so we can differentiate to the best of our ability with the limitations of not being able to pull groups like we were last year. Tomorrow we are planning orientations. I have a list of students, or a list of faculty coming in just to talk about how we're going to do open houses, how are kids going to get acclimated to the school, are we taking videos of the classroom, how are you going to meet your teacher. So I look forward to tomorrow on just what kind of trainings are we putting out, what kind of videos, virtual tools, what can we do to start getting kids ready to get back to school and to get parents comfortable with what we're doing, what's happening in the classroom. And, lots of details will be covered tomorrow and put out to you certainly by the end of the week. We're also going to plan, we have 4 days together, with the start of school for children being on the 10th. Gives the teachers 4 days to work together. So we're also going to plan what PD needs we have. We're going to spend a lot of time with our Google Classroom. We have trainers coming in for Google Classroom. We have a new student management system. So there's lots of work on technology and resources that we'll be using. So I appreciate everybody's help and input. The parents, the questions, the conversations I've had over the last week have been wonderful. I learned so much, and so again, I thank you for your questions. It's never a burden. I appreciate it. I think about different things, and you're helping me with your questions more than you think. So again, this is not a one-time Zoom. Call me, write me anytime, and the Q&A is great as well. So at this point, do you have some questions for me? If you can type in the chat.
My first question, is it okay to have a grandparent pick up a student?
Okay. Is it okay to have a grandparent pick up a student? Yes. We will still follow the procedures of the first day sheets. Kathy Fazioli will be sending a mailing out. So, you know, anybody that you think will be picking up, you put on the list. We will still do security. If it's somebody we don't know, like a grandparent that we haven't met, we will be asking for ID. We'll still have the safety procedures, but yes, when you pull up, we'll just be doing that at the car instead of in the school.
Have we made a decision about using the playground?
Decision on the playground. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little nervous about the playground right now. I know in the guidance it says we can use the playground. I hear different things about the playground. The latest is 15 minutes of sunlight will disinfect the playground. That playgrounds are safer than we think. Playgrounds are opened. High touch areas have to be wiped. So if we are using the swings, again, I met with the teachers. They plan to take their students. So if they have 15 students, they're gonna go out on the playground. They would have to be in charge of wiping down the chains on the swing. They're saying yes, they would do that. We would really limit, I guess, the areas on the playground. I would only let the 15 students use it, and then we would have to wipe down and disinfect between groups. If that can be done safely, I said to the staff, you'd really have to sell that to me. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm going to start the year very conservative. I'm just going to put that out there. I feel like these are my 400 babies coming back, and I'm going to be nervous. So I'm going to try to keep them in this little bubble, but I understand they need play. They need, I'm thinking of, what can they do on recess if it wasn't just on the same, using the same slide. Little bags of chalk, jump ropes, what can they do? I still want them to have fun and enjoy and socialize, but I certainly am nervous. I would make sure that if they did use the playground, again, the teachers are disinfecting, but when they come in, they have to wash their hands from the playground, which is why a 45-minute of lunch and recess, in my mind, is now an hour and a half. There's got to be a lot of hand washing. Not just the sanitizer, I think a good hand wash and then sanitizing before they enter the classroom again. So I'm not saying no to the playground. I'm just saying I'm going to be pretty rigid at first until I get a little more comfortable with this. But great question.
If we choose to keep our child home because of a sniffly nose, do they need a doctor's note clearing them to return?
Okay, so this is a great question. If my child has a symptom of a runny nose or something in the morning and I choose to keep them home, do they have to have a doctor's note? I had a meeting with the Department of Health today and I asked that very question, and they are saying it would be the same if your child had a sniffly nose or a runny nose or a COVID symptom at school and we asked you to please go to the doctor, that we're going to ask that, yes, you go to the doctor and have a note to come back. So if you call and say, my child had a low-grade fever or had whatever symptom, I'm going to ask that Trish Gibbs talk to you about why it is you're keeping your child home, and that we are going to ask that you go to the doctor and get a clearing to come back. Again, a long conversation with the Department of Health today, and really she said, you have to do everything in your power to keep all of your students safe. So if that means, asking that parent to please go to the doctor, you need a note to come back, that's what we'll do. But that's a great question. That was my question today to the Department of Health. So I'm glad you asked that.
The Bear family would like to thank you for all your hard work that obviously has come with a lot of man hours in putting together the new school year.
Oh, the Bears. Thank you for that compliment. That was very nice. Thank you.
We have a parent who's concerned about their child who receives remedial services. Will they continue since they need to make 3 sections of other grade levels?
Okay. So remedial services, that is right now, that is something that we spent a long time today talking about. So the traditional, I had 4 remedial teachers. I used 3 of them to put in classrooms to make all the classrooms safe and manageable. So remediation is now a big responsibility. It's on the classroom teacher. So when we think about that time in the morning, so for elementary, I've asked that the elementary teachers don't start any new contact till 9 o'clock. We will have several kids off the bus at 8 o'clock, or I could arrange for a student who needs AIS or a special service. I could talk to that family and ask them to come as close to 8 o'clock as possible. So I'm thinking 8 to 9 o'clock is a great remedial time with your classroom teacher. So if it is a remedial ELA, if it is reading issue, you know, that those teachers would provide intense remediation during that hour. I also have support people outside of remedial people. I have some, you know, special ed help. We have some people with extra time in their schedule that could provide remedial outside of just those 4 remedial teachers. I also see we have some different staff that will be coming on. We are looking to arrange some substitute teachers to be here on call, some teachers that could at any point. So we have to think about a teacher's going to walk up, they may have a fever and have to go home immediately. Who would take that pod? So we're looking at having some substitutes here, certified teachers, willing and able to take a classroom at any given time. And then if they're not being used, to be used as some of that remedial help, or again, to cover classrooms, so a remedial teacher can do it a little extra in the morning. So there's lots of ideas. I don't want you to think that we're not providing any extra supports. It just may be from a different teacher, or again, if you are in one of those grade levels who, you know, your child traditionally gets AIS, we're going to schedule them again with that specialist who has been working with them prior. So I don't want to say there's no remedial. I think there's lots of spots and lots of different people that can provide that outside of the remedial teacher. That's a great question.
Will there be social distancing for lockdowns? Will there be emergency bus drills? And will the buses be sanitized between double bus runs?
Yes, okay. So that question was about the drills. The state is still mandating us to do fire drills and lockdown drills. At this point, we are going to conduct the lockdown drills like we always will. We are going to say to children, in the event that this was a real lockdown, you just hide. You hide in the closet, you do what you have to do, you hide. At this point, I told the teachers that I'd be happy with the kids just sitting under their desk, or just knowing that this is a spot I'm going to go to. Be aware of your surrounding, but right now for a drill, I'm not going to try to push kids into a corner and jeopardize their safety for 8 different lockdown drills. I think the drills are important, but having the kids, you know, again, just sit by their desk or on the floor quietly, listening for directions is what I need them to do and practice. The bus safety right now, I'm hearing from transportation was going to meet with some of the directors. They are still saying they want a bus, some bus safety done, but they think that can just be done on the bus as students come in. And we were getting confirmation. It wasn't clear in the guidance. Did we have to, the students who were getting driven in, did they need a bus drill? Some directors felt they did not. So more will be coming out on the bus run.
Are you considering midday temperature checks?
Are we considering midday temperature checks? Not at this time. It has not been recommended by the Department of Health, just once in the morning to bring kids in, and any child that does not feel well and you know, that the teacher notices flushed cheeks, you know, just, you know, seems to think that a child does not feel well, then certainly they will go to the nurse to have their temperature checked. But we have not considered just taking everybody's temperature at this point.
For students taking the bus, at what point are temperature checks completed?
So the temperature checks, this question is for students taking the bus. Students taking the bus will have their temperature taken as soon as they get to school and the bus opens. There will be one of us at each school bus ready to take a temperature. The first child gets to, you know, dismissed down. This will come down the stairs, take the temperature. If it is good, they go in the building. If it is not, if they have a temperature, then they're escorted right to the nurse in a quarantine area, and then parents are called.
If they have to have a change in transportation, will that be an issue?
If you have to change transportation, would it be an issue? Right now, if you are considering that, oh, I think I can pick up, but some days I need the bus, we want to know if you need the bus, and we will just assign seats. So, you know, we want to make sure that there are enough seats. So if you're contemplating, you just let us know so that we can just give you a seat. And if you can drive some days, great. But if you need the bus, there will be an assigned seat ready.
Has there been any consideration in using self-sanitizing stickers on all door handles and buses?
Self-sanitizing stickers on door handles and buses. I do not know of that. Right now, we are looking into a spray for the buses and for some surfaces in the classroom that is supposed to last 90 days. I'm not sure, besides our health and safety director at Questar had a meeting with us this morning with the Department of Health and introduced a spray that you would put on bus seats and surfaces that would last for up to 90 days, some 30 days. So I don't know about stickers, but certainly as things come out, we're looking at it. Andy DeGear has been amazing, looking into different foggers, different chemicals, different pieces that would help keep the sanitation going. So we would not be opposed to looking into that.
Can students still bring their lunch or buy lunch?
Students will be able to bring and buy lunch. There will be restrictions because they are eating in a classroom now, and that we will not have a peanut-free table. So we are going to ask that the school be peanut-free. It is in the cafeteria. We haven't been using peanut products, so we would ask that with so many children having a peanut allergy, that it be peanut-free. So Trish Gibbs will certainly contact those of you who have allergies in a classroom, whether it's milk, dairy, we will have to work out that piece because we won't be eating in the cafeteria. Breakfast will be offered in the class, and snack, I think there will be a limit on what you're bringing or how, what time, depending on lunch schedules. Every teacher was going to have a different, but they want to have a different procedure of, limiting the amounts of the types of snacks. So you'll get more to come on that within the next week as soon as you find out your classroom teacher.
Will middle school students be changing clothes for gym?
Middle school will not be using the locker room, and it will not be changing for gym.
What about kids that will be at before and after care? How will drop off and pick up work? Car to bus, bus to car?
So our before school and after school, I am meeting with them this week, so I don't really know how they are going to look to drop off and pick up. We are meeting this week, so more to come on our after school program and before school and their expectations of drop off and pick up.
If you are picking up a 4th grader and a 7th grader, can they both leave at 2:30?
Okay, so good question. So if you have a 4th grader and a 7th grader together, can you both leave at 2:30? That is what I'm trying my best to do, because I know that will be a burden for you to come at 2:30 and then come back at 3:17. So again, that's why right now I am working hard with Mike Goyer to run every scenario possible with the buses. And I will let you know soon, but that is my goal, is to help that you only have one drop off and one pickup.
In PE, will they be doing 12 feet apart?
PE, yes, will be 12 feet apart. I hope that they will be outside as much as possible. I told the PE teachers that, even if it is, hey, kids, put your snow pants on, we're going outside. They will be outside as much as possible. They can use the gym if they are 12 feet apart. But, again, our preference will be outside in fresh air. But yes, they will be 12 feet apart at all times.
Has the district considered Zoom meetings and similar to the welcome back activities that occur to talk to students about what they were to expect when they return back to school in the fall?
Yes, absolutely. So the question was, will there be virtual orientations for students, meetings, parents? Absolutely. It will be coming. Tomorrow is the meeting where I have several teachers coming in to plan. So what will a kindergarten orientation look like? I've already talked to the directors at Head Start. So next week they will have a orientation for pre-K. You'll know exactly what's going to happen, the activities. So tomorrow I'm meeting with the staff to talk about every grade level and how we will put that out. So by the end of this week, you will know where orientations are, what parents, parent orientations and student orientations, you know, how do we get the kids ready and in that mindset to come back to school and meet their new teachers. So yes, lots of virtual activities will be planned for the next 2 weeks for sure.
Has the district looked at what local summer camps have been doing?
Has the district looked at what summer camps have been doing? Yes, which has been great. And our after school and before school care has run a summer program as well. So I think it'll be very, very beneficial as he helps us plan some of these activities that he has been running all summer long.
What about kids with IEPs like speech therapy that can't or don't with a mask and 6 feet apart? How will those services work?
So the question is speech therapy. Speech therapy will be a combination of push in and pull out. We have separate rooms ready to go. We have utilized every space in this building. Again, I'm looking at Andy, but they've done an amazing job. So like, for instance, we took the upstairs faculty room, disassembled, I just really pulled everything out, the soda machine, everything. They have moved everything. So now that is a room that will be used for, you know, another speech room. We are not going to have students come in and out of the same room. So if the teacher sees 20 speech students a day, they will not be coming in and out using the same material, the same room. So we have multiple sites that students will come in, sit at their own desk, have their speech therapy, different therapies. Again, the building is huge, which is great. It just took a lot of work to clear all these rooms and repurpose these rooms. But there's lots of space set up for pull-out spots, just like speech.
When children are outside, socially distanced for any lesson, do they have to wear a mask?
Okay. So if children are outside and they are not running around and they are 12 feet apart, they can pull their mask down. You know, for recess, that's when the teacher said, you know, they would take their small group out so they can manage that. If the masks are up, kids can be closer together in an area like the playground. If they were separated and running around 12 feet apart or doing, you know, other activities, they'd be able to use a mask break outside.
Without the use of classroom fans, what air filtration is being utilized and how often?
Okay, so the question is about fans. Right now, fans will not be used because in the regulations, a fan can't blow air from one student and that air can't hit another student. So I think it would be really impossible to figure out if air is hitting 2 students directly. So we're saying, you know, no to fans. Hopefully, knock on wood, all this heat will be over, and then when we start school, it'll be freezing and we won't have to worry about this. We will have a nice airflow in. As far as the filtration system, I'm certainly not going to pretend that I'm an expert on this. So Andy, you could chime in if I can't, but the air filtration system that we are using runs for 12 hours a day. We are calling and having that run 24 hours a day, so fresh air filtration comes in for 24 hours a day, even when students are in the building. Andy, I see you took yourself off mute, but did I get that right?
Yes, you did, Mary. I mean, couldn't say it any better. The filtration will run 24 hours a day, so it'll be constantly filtering the air in the school. So there should be a constant flow of fresh air.
Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
Where will students keep book bags, coats, and are closets usable?
So where do kids keep their things, their book bags and their coats? So thank you to the PTA who is going to buy laundry baskets that will be tied to the front of the student's desk. because they will not be using cubby areas, and the middle school will not be using lockers because we don't want kids congregating and just not being safe and not touching and grabbing each other's things. So they will have these laundry baskets, which now that they're 6 feet apart, it really does not clutter the room and it does not become a safety hazard. So we're tying them onto the desk, but great question.
And the last question I see is, how will emergency dismissal be handled? Can kids ride the bus home, or do they have to be picked up?
So for dismissal, so the question is, for emergency dismissal, do they have to be picked up or would they ride the bus? I'd say if, you know, again, if there was really some kind of emergency, I'd be putting masks on the kids and we would be getting out of here as soon as we could. But if that's what your question is, if it's a true emergency, you're putting a mask on. We are socially distancing on the bus as much as possible, but the regulations do say if you have a mask on, you don't need to be socially distanced. So not that it's a good practice, which is why we're asking you to provide transportation, and you are, but it wouldn't be against regulation to fill a bus, especially if it was an emergency situation. So in an emergency, I wouldn't worry about waiting for all these students to get picked up. I would put them on buses and get them out of here, if that's what you're asking.
And I have no other questions in the queue.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for your questions, and please don't think this was it. I will answer your questions at any time to the best of my ability. And if you just hang in with me, I promise you will have many more details by the end of this week and certainly going into next week. I think we are ready. We are excited. We have lots of planning. We just haven't been able to put so many things from really pen to paper because we were still wondering about numbers. So I think our numbers are looking very good and are very solid. So now we're able to start writing this down, and you will be able to see some of this plans. You will hear from me literally by the end of this week. We will have class lists ready. We will be ready to provide you with more than enough information. So just give us a couple more days and we're ready. We're excited. So thank you for everything and for being so supportive. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you. Bye, everybody.